reputations are a curious thing. Each person will have a different version of you in their head. So someone from childhood will think of you in a certain way. There'll be someone maybe been in a relationship in the past, or an ex. Maybe they've got a different opinion of you, family members, strangers. Everybody has a specific view of you. So I find it quite curious what your current reputation is with people. I was just thinking about like some of my sort of personality traits, some of the things I've accomplished, and what people might know me for. And if a word comes to mind, what would it be, sort of thing, you know? Because I do fight against injustice very, very quite firmly, really, to be totally honest. I speak up on topics that maybe most people are scared to talk about. I'm very blunt, opinionated, but then I'm also, for the right people, I'm very affectionate, very caring, supportive, loyal. But then to some other people, I'm very firm with my boundaries. I cut people off if either they disrespect me or the situations run its course, whatever, So some people, really where it stemmed from was, I just smiled thinking it's great, where some people just know not to reach out to me. There's some people that just know the door, I've closed the door. And even if they're sort of reminiscing, it's just not even possible at all. They know who they are. And it's just, that brings a level of peace because you don't have to keep explaining something anymore, And of course, from their point of view, you probably call you every name under the sun in private, and then gossip constantly, and it's just because they can't get into your energy, so it's just being petulant. But overall, though, we don't need everybody in our life. So I'm going to share a little bit here. My brother's got my half brother. I don't usually refer to my siblings in half and all that. I just my brothers and sisters. But when it comes down to it, and I've done an ancestry video recently talking about my ancestry, I don't have biologically natural 100% siblings. I either have step siblings. I've got or half brothers, half sisters. On either side. And on my father's side, I don't know any of them. And on my mother's side, I don't really have anything in common with most of them, if with any of them. Our personalities just differ quite wildly, and I don't want to be really callous here. But the one thing I noticed amongst all of them, they share the same father. So I'm thinking, why are they so different to me? And they're all selfish. They're all very, very selfish. They don't only care about themselves unless it serves a purpose not to. Like when I look at each of them, that's what all of them are like, and I don't like that. It's just no. When you need people, they're rarely there, and it's always self-serving, is my point. And I don't care if it's you're supposed to stick together. And like I say, so when you get to the point of freedom that I've got in terms of the detachment from people, it is beautiful, but you think it took a while to get there because people have to get used to the change, and if people are not used to it, and there's always. And this is what I'm trying. I just want people to understand. You build the life you want. It doesn't matter what people think of it. The biggest headache along the way has been my mum. My mother, because she wants to keep everyone together, and she just seems to. It was always a case of, "Oh, just do it this time," or and I'm like, "No, I've had enough." Like she understood where I was coming from, but it's just she always knew I was the voice of reason. So if there's ever any arguments with people, I'm the one that can sort of solve a problem. So it's almost like I was always the one held to a higher standard. Like, yeah, but you can see where they're going wrong. Like, you can see where they're struggling with this. Or, there's always an excuse for someone's behaviour. And I just reached a point where I'm like, I don't care what the excuse is, though. And I don't care. It's not my problem. Fundamentally, we don't get along. Fundamentally, we're different people, and I don't really like them. So what I started to do with my mum is just explain to her. I just said, look, I can't tell you one way or another about everybody, but you need to start opening your eyes to each individual rather than as a collective keep saying everybody needs to stick together. This one's selfish. They only care about themselves. And they don't help at all. They're constantly lying. They exaggerate anything. And it's one after another. And I just pointed it out. I'm not going to start digging into all my siblings here and start doing all that shit. But my mum started to see it. And it wasn't a case of turning her against anyone. It was just opening her eyes to it. And now she can see why I don't get along with any of them. And it's just, and I'm not, I'm like the worst person you can have these issues with because I am as stubborn as hell. And so once my eyes are open to something, I can't close them. And I'm not fake. You know, I can't say I'm the least fake person in the world, because if you're not fake, you're not fake. You know, you're either fake or you're not fake. There's not really much grey area in that. You might, but, you know, maybe dance between each line, but I'm not. I'm very much, this is true, this is not true. And there's just no sugar in it, sugarcoat in that, you know? So I'm not going to sort of bend my reality to help other people function. That's not how I behave at all. So that means that when I see through people, see through their flaws, but also, you know, in such negative ways too, like they know that I see through them, and they know I've called judgment on their time in my life. So even if someone feels bad or they feel lonely or whatever, they're thinking, oh, I could, you know, I need to reach out, because I usually give advice to people, but I'm not always here for give advice to. And it's like eventually you're going to have to get on with your life. So the beautiful thing is, even if anyone thinks about reaching out to me, they know not to. You know, I've had my brother, again, I don't care how I look. I know at this stage, because I've started off coming out quite strong. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. Like I say, with people who I truly connected to, so like my daughter, even if she drives me crazy, she's my daughter, you know. And you know, we can have little disagreements sometimes, but it's very rare, and we have very similar personalities anyway. So I know when she takes something personally, there's usually something behind it. So I have to take a moment, step back, and think about it a bit more. She obviously gets more leeway than the average person, but with her, I go the extra mile. You know, I'll drive around the country for her. I do what I can. I give her my last pennies. You know. It's just, so for certain people, they get the world from you, and to other people, they don't get anything. I've got a nephew that I've tried so long to help, and he listens, and then defaults back though to old patterns. And it's just, I've always warned them. This is the thing, is that these situations where I'm quite abrupt, it doesn't come without warning. I'm quite transparent. So if I don't like something, I always say it. Like I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. Like, so if this is the way people are going to behave, I'm not going to live like this. So I'm going to go off and do my own thing. So there's warnings. And with him, I gave him even extra layers. I was explaining to him, he's been quite selfish in this instance. I don't really like that myself. Each your own. But I'm not going to be around that. And if you don't improve, I'm not going to be around. You know, and I've been very transparent. And I told him if it was anyone else, I would have just cut ties already. You know, because I'm exhausted of it. I've got my own life to live, and I'm not having. I always say you're only as weak as your weakest link. So if you've got people anchoring you, you're never going to be able to get on in your life and just have your freedom and do what you want to do, because you're living a low vibrational existence, because those around you are acting low vibrationally. So put in context, sort of have 1 minute he's got aspirations and dreams. I'm like, yeah, invest in that. Invest in yourself, you know? Who knows what you can accomplish? Next thing you know, lazy, wasting time on really, really stupid shit in life, becoming selfish, expecting everyone to do everything for them. Then they start dabbling in, they keep returning back to alcohol, and then they start dabbling in drugs and stuff. Now, I don't know if they're still doing all those things. You know, they're in the same places where they were happening, and they keep defaulting back to past behaviors. Something, I can't part with this shit, you know. And for a lot of people, and I'm not going to keep harping on about this, but the defining thing amongst all of it, regardless of all that, you know, that's enough for me, to be honest, because I'm moving on. I don't want to live their lifestyle. I refuse, you know. When it comes down to it all, though, every single one has seen me struggle for a period or not. And if someone else is struggling, I'll try and help where I can, you know. My brother, for a majority of his life, I've driven him everywhere. He doesn't drive. And every time he's needed help, I've helped him. And the same with my nephew, you know. It's like they expect it all the time. And it's reached a point where I'm not doing it anymore. You're going to have to learn to stand your own 2 feet. I'm not going to carry you everywhere. But I can't remember where I was going there. Yeah, that's it. Everybody's seen me struggle. So I'm there for everybody else. But where are they for me? Now, maybe they've helped me at a certain period of my life, and you'd say, you know, just because someone helped you for a specific moment doesn't mean you have to be loyal to them forever. You know, what have they done for you since? For instance, just these are little things. These are not like, I wouldn't consider these huge. It's just things have happened in before these events, and they've happened long after too. So it's not a case that this is just the one defining factor. So don't get that wrong. It's just I've seen the character of all of them. again, I wasn't going to pick at people, but let's say one of my half sisters. I relocated in 2020 from Essex to Cambridgeshire. It's a bit of a trip. Her husband to help drive the van. If I had to do it at a push, I could. I couldn't really do all the lifting though. So people did help. So they came to my aid. You would argue in 2020 they helped, but everybody did the bare minimum. So again, I just feel everything's to save face for my mum. So if my mum wasn't involved asking people to help, would they have helped? I don't think so. Now they helped, so you could make an exemption and go, well, they helped. Don't worry, I've remembered that. And you try to give people a bit of grace, but they do push it. I had to. I lived in a flat, but there was a lot of stuff. Kids' bedrooms. The kids' ex had left. The kids' stuff was still there. A lot of stuff left behind. I had to pack the whole flat myself. All the kitchen utilities, every single thing, its utensils, all the front living room furniture, everything in there, anything and everything, even getting in the loft. I think my nephew might have helped me one day with the loft, but overall, that's a lot to do on your own because no one wanted to help. And my mum asked my brother, "Is like, I don't like doing that. I don't want it. If he don't want to do something, he won't do it." So it's like, and then they turn up on the day and there's a surprise that we might struggle to get it in this van, and I'm like, well, will no one ever come to see how much I've got? So it is a joke. And then obviously people helped me get it from the van into the house, but I was abandoned pretty much after that. My sister said she'll come and visit often, or I should come and visit in the holidays and things. Because that'd be nice, like people come visit. No one did. Mum come up a few times, but she doesn't drive, so it was only for a friend. My brother stayed with me for a period because he had nowhere to live at a certain period, so I helped him with that. My nephew needed somewhere, he was having problems at home with his mum, so I helped him with that. And then he bounced back and forth a couple of times, and I said, right, if you go again, because it's either you're building a life in this area, so that's what you want to do. So he's getting in and out of jobs, but he was getting jobs, but he kept bouncing back to his mum all the time. Saying I can't, I'm going to just go back to mum. It's like, that's fine, but I'm not having people yo-yoing in and out of my life. So you do that, you stay in there. But it's little. I know I'm going to come across quite entitled in this. I was on very low income. I had no money. I've got to get a job when I get there. I had nothing. It's cost me everything just to get here, like to do everything. Because you have to pay the month. I think 2 months in rent in advance or something. A month's rent and a one in advance. I'm pretty confident it was. If there was any arrears at your previous place, you had to get that sorted before you could consider a swap. So there's all these different things with the money. Of course, you need food when you get it. All these different things. It cost. I can't remember how much it cost in fuel to get the van up to Cambridgeshire and back, but it wouldn't have been crazy amounts. And I really didn't have a lot. And my sister's far more better off than I am. And you'd think people would come together, not just physically, but like even just a little bit financially. I'm struggling and I'm going to be on my own. I've got no support here. And again, it's my problem. I get it, but it's not the point. It's like when people know you're struggling, they won't put their hand in their pocket ever, and they never did. Then all I got was, we still need the money for the fuel for when we took the van back. Oh, okay. So I had to give them that, and it's like, again, you could say it's my problem, and I get it, but the point is like, when do people genuinely help if they're not pushed to help? My other sister, who's on benefits her whole life, knows how to play the system. Now she's actually got problems, and it's like, well, you kind of like karma with that, but I'm not my problem. One time, she said, because she knew how bad my finances were, by the way, she wanted to go to the shop. It's nowhere near me. It takes me a trip to get to her. It's about 40 minutes away just to get to her, and then to the shop. And then I have to. What she doesn't realise is the yo-yoing. So she said, "Oh, and I'll come back to yours, and we'll do, So what she didn't realise is I got to drive to her, then I've got to drive to the shop, then I've got to drive to me, then drive to her, then drive home again. That's a lot for me to do. People only think about their own little bubble. And she said, if we go and we go to the shop, I'll give you some money, you can get some shopping, and you can just give it back when you've got it. And then when we go to the shopping, she acts like she doesn't know anything, and it makes me uncomfortable because it's like I'm not going to beg no one for anything. So, I just remember all these things. And then I needed to get some paint, and I was going to just start doing some painting. Again, I'm struggling. And you just find what it is. You find out about people in adversity. That's what I'm talking about. It's not about entitlement. And some people might look at it like, oh, you're looking for handouts. I weren't looking for handouts. You're just looking for people to give a shit because I know what I'm like. If I was in that situation, people wouldn't even have to ask me. If I see you need help and you're starting out all over again and you got, I'll buy bits. I don't care. I don't care about money like that. But all my family members seem to do, you know. My mum's the only one that'll ever help me. The others just don't. So she kept pointing out things, going, oh, you should get them paintbrushes, you should get that roller. Oh, that paint's a good deal. You should get this. But never once did she, oh, I'll buy you some of this. And I'm like, I can't afford that one. I'm going to have to get this much because that one's not very good. I'm like, that's all I can get. You know, never once just to help buy it one anything. And it was all. And then I had another problem with them, actually. Their car broke down. So they asked if I can take them shopping. So I take them shopping. Again, 40 minutes out my way, and I've got one local to me. So that's ridiculous. I'm doing it all for them. And then, you know, you take them shopping. They said, we'll pay the petrol or the fuel. They don't pay the fuel. And then they had the audacity as well when we get to the car that we're struggling to get their shopping and my shopping in, and they think their stuff should be a priority. It's like, mate, I don't give a shit. You know, you haven't even helped me with the petrol you said you was going to help me with. You know, it's not my problem because they brought their son with them and he weren't supposed to come with us because they can't tell him no for some reason. But that's the reason. My car weren't big at the time, so it's like that's not really my problem, is it? You're gonna have to just have your bags all over you on the back seat. And then there was another time where her husband, because their car broke down, and I didn't really need the car that much. I said, well, I'll tell you what, you can just, you can borrow the car for like a week or whatever just to get to and from work. And he said, yeah, and I'll fill it up. Didn't fill it up. This is, for me, it's respect. You know, this from their side, this respect. But they goes way beyond that with my sister, with that sister. Oh my God. We had a holiday and it was a nightmare. And I disowned her at that point. You know, she was really rude to my mum on the plane. She swore at her because she was, anxiety or not, I don't really care. And just how rude she was, but she was like really lazy and rude on the holiday as well. And she turns people against each other. And my other sister's figured this out now way too late. But it's like, I don't care. So people have it of siding because she's good at manipulating. And I just don't care about what story she comes up with or who believes anything that comes out of her mouth because she talks so much shit, it's a joke. But then her whole side of that family with her kids and that, they all just do the same thing to each other anyway. So it's like, they're just the side that I'm forgetting about, you know. I don't need them in my life. I don't want them in my life. They're the one, and I've said to my mum, they're the worst of the lot. You know, I won't bother with her at all. And then, I don't want to keep digging at everybody. So they've each got their own problem. And my brother's got a wedding coming up soon, but it's a bit of a mess. Like, they're getting married but not moving in together in different parts of the country. It doesn't even make sense to me. The whole thing's a bit of a farce. At first, he didn't want anyone coming to the wedding. He just wanted people to come to the drinks after. And I said to my mum, because I was at my mum's at the time when he was on the phone. And I said, is he simple? Like, who's going to go to the drinks after if they've never invited to a wedding? It's just that delusion where people just think they're just, I don't know. They're just so important and everybody else is just waiting to be in their presence or something. I said, that's just crazy. So in the end, he changed his mind and said, right, okay. Because it's one of those weddings in, I don't know what you call it, registry office? I think they're shit. My mum said, I got married. I said, yeah, I know, but that is crap, isn't it? I'm quite blunt. That's sad. Like, I understand if all you want on principle is a wedding, you just want it on paper to sign to say, but it seems a bit shit if it's just as simple as that. Make it a ceremony, even if there's not many people. So I just think that's mental to me. But I've said to my mum, I said, I'm not going. First of all, he didn't want anyone at the wedding in the first place. And second of all, I don't want to be around everyone. You know, my brother can't even reach me anyway. Like, he keeps changing his number all the time. And he's tried to I just blocked everybody on my phone. The only one could get hold of me is my mum. You know, and they all know. They all know, and so they always say they sometimes pass the phone number to my mum and say, "I'll let him know." It's like, I don't even save the number. It's like, I don't care. I don't want it. It's like, I'm done. I said to my mum, I said, the wedding's it seems like a farce to me, and I have no interest in being around any of them. So I'm not doing it. So the whole point of this isn't to, you can see one side of me and you can maybe think, people can come up with conclusions. But what it is, I'm really happy that the boundary's been set, that people got the message. And that doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't just happen when you click your fingers, because people have a habit of taking a while to understand change and realize you're dead serious. And I'm absolutely serious. People will see when the wedding comes that I'm not there and I have no interest in being around any of them. I'll be like, if for my mum's sake, I'll be polite if I have to be. So I'll be in the company. I won't cause an argument, but I won't give any more to a conversation than I have to, and I'll distance where I can, and then that's it. But it's almost like people will know that. So I know some people can think, we should at least go to the wedding. I don't want to go to it. That's the thing with me in general, my whole life. I thought, I don't want to do something, I won't do it. Now, sometimes I might bend a little bit and think, well, it's the right thing to do. It's not always about you. It's just think about them. It mean how you wouldn't like it isn't enough for the amount that they would get out of it. So sometimes you try and balance it a little bit and think, well, just because you don't like it a little bit, but it would really help them. But then, okay, you'd say, okay, you suck it up. In this instance, I wouldn't like it at all. I said to my mum, if I was going, all I would do is go just to witness it, and then I'd leave. I wouldn't go to any drinking with everyone after. I'd just go. I would drive the 2 hours home after. I would not be lingering in town because it's not in my home. It's in my hometown, so it's not even where I live. So I'd have to drive all the way down there and all the way back. All for what? To see someone sign something, and I don't really want to be in front of any of them, and I'm not even sure it's like in terms of a wedding. It doesn't even feel like a wedding. I know it makes me misery guts, but what it is, I'm fed up with everybody at this point, and I don't care. If you think about it this way, not attending someone's wedding like that is the final burning of a bridge. It's symbolic. And it's not. I'm not trying to ruin someone's wedding. My presence shouldn't be enough to ruin. My lack of presence shouldn't be enough to ruin someone's occasion. And if it is, you've got to ask yourself: what are you getting married for? It shouldn't be about other people. It should be about yourself. So I'm not doing it to make an example and try and be awkward or try and ruin something. It's just I'm making the point to every single person in the family that I'm done now. Like, you've all had long enough in my life to step up and be reasonable and be fair and be nice. Like I said, they're all selfish. And then when I was looking at my ancestry tree, I was just thinking, they all share the same dad. And I remembered like his other kids he's had other kids with different, and they were all messed up as well. So I'm like, their whole bloodline is crazy. That's not my bloodline. If I think about my mum is just us, for instance, and I consider myself entirely different to the rest of them. So that's fine. So now I just think of them, and I never did growing up because we was all told family stick together. But you can't, once your eyes are open, they're open. So now I don't consider them, personally, I don't think of them anymore like brother and sister. I just think of them as my half-brother, half-sister. We're just different people. We don't have the same mentality here. We don't have the same structure to our life, And I say that's just, but you talk about, so I know we've gone quite heavy in that direction, and we'd argue that, so reputations are going to be different based on the people involved. My people from the outside might see what I do, and you see me in the videos, you might think my reputation, I don't know, I can only guess here. I'm not saying this is what my reputation is, but I could only argue that it suggests that maybe some people think the reputation is I am a strong communicator. I'm very honest and sincere. You'll hear me talking about things that some people, like I said, some people wouldn't want to talk about, either because it gets them into trouble or it's very vulnerable. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I just say it how it is. It's always straight to the point. So communication skills are maybe strong. So some people might be impressed by the communication. Some people might be impressed by how blunt I am. Some might be impressed by how hard I work and the fact that I'm relentless even through adversity and when struggles. Maybe your reputation is that you're independent. So, fiercely focused on your own path and journey. You don't let anyone get in the way of it. Other people's reputation might be that I'm a selfish asshole who's not thinking of other people and prioritizes himself too much. I'm sure my family think that of me quite strongly, to be totally honest. But I don't really care because it's not my business anymore. Now, there might be other reputations that I'm not even thinking about. I mean, I was falsely accused of shit from my ex-partner, so whatever the abuse, the emotional abuse, apparently, that was levied towards them, the reputation amongst some of them is perhaps that, but they know that's a load of shit, and I think time has proven that it was lies, and I think even they have given up. Personally, I think they've given up, the whole lot that was involved, like her family. I think they've all given up believing that lie themselves. It's so obvious that was nonsense. But anybody else that's not involved that would have heard the lies spewed, they may still believe that. But I know full well the ones involved, they know it's a load of shit. Because I've always been accountable. I've never been a problem. I mean, we've had arguments since the breakup because they argue with me, I argue with them. But it's been no different to people just arguing. But I haven't caused problems in their life. All I focus on is our daughter. So I'm there FaceTiming, I'm talking to her. I don't say anything bad about her mum to her. I don't try and interact with her mum. You know, we spend time together. She comes on holidays and things. I have never been a problem. You know, I just drop them off, take them. They're the ones that cause problems. So if I was this or that, then I would be interfering all the time. I'm not interfering with anyone. I'm just doing my own shit. Again, I'm not here to sort of prove anything. It's just I just thought to explain that a little bit there. But like I say, the arguments, I'd say the arguments in the family, but it's not, I don't see it as arguments with the family. I see it as setting the standard going forward. It's setting that boundary. That's important. And it takes time to establish that because especially manipulative people, they'll always find ways to try and weasel their way in and out. Have it their way all the time. But I find it curious that one of my sisters finally sussed out my other sister, realizing, because she said it to my mum apparently, because my mum told me. She said that she had said to her that I can't believe I didn't realize that she turned me against him. I'm like, oh, well, shit, now she's figured it out. I said a bit late though, because I couldn't give a shit. But that's what it comes down to. When you pick a side, if you ever decide that, you're going to pick a side and you're going to go against someone. You know what it all stemmed from with my sister there? I mean, there's deeper issues though. There's bigger issues between us from the past because she's very selfish. But apparently my other sister had pointed out something that I'd written in one of my books and twisted it. So took it out of context and just said to my sister, this is what he said about you in the book. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't even remember. Like, I don't know what reference that is. I don't know what book she's referring to because I've spoken about a lot of things. And it's if I've mentioned it, it's true. So I stand by it because whatever. And I don't know what it's in reference to without knowing the chapter and what part of the book they're talking about or which book it even is. Because it could be because these books were written in different time periods, you know, but they're all accurate. I'd never go back and change anything. That's what I said to my mum. I will never change the truth. If something happened at a certain period, then and I've documented it, then that is what happened, you know, and it's about educating people and helping people grow through circumstances. Just if someone heals beyond it, I say absolutely wonderful, great. I hope they do. But it doesn't change the version that existed then. And what it was, and I remember because it was about me saying something about the fact that my sister makes her husband suffer quite a lot to work so hard to give her the lifestyle she wants. So she spends the money and he has to keep earning it. And I remember writing about it somewhere. Context, I'm not quite totally sure, but there was a reason for it. And yeah, so is that true or false? It's true. Okay, she does her own jobs on the side, but no way does the earnings she make cover the lifestyle she has. And he has to work ridiculous shifts, do overtime all the time, so he's always exhausted. Is that a fair lifestyle for someone to live if you love them? You know, I'm just making the point here. You know, if you want a specific lifestyle, you earn it. Don't expect someone to give it to you. And then I think it's cruel to watch someone suffer because you want to have luxury items. Stupid designer clothes, designer shit. Who gives a shit about a designer thing? This is just the Next. I like Next because I like the fit. I don't got no logos and stuff. I don't give a crap. What's the point? Absolute shit. So I don't live that lifestyle at all. I'm not the same. We're not the same people. I wouldn't ask someone to suffer at my expense. So anyway, but yeah, I just thought we'd touch on the reputations really because I do think it's curious how different demographics, if you like, or different people in our lives will have a different opinion of us. And that's going to happen throughout our life. You know, you might have someone say some really nice, kind things about you, and then someone else will chirp and go, oh yeah, but I bet you don't know this about them. And maybe that's true what they're saying, but also it could be a load of shit. Because people with a vendetta that are vengeful, they will lie. You know, so they'll come up with a load of fabrications just to fit a narrative. But the same way, like sort of same way, but probably even far worse because I know what my sister's capable of. The fact that she even took anything out of context just to turn someone against me, all because we was having a problem. Because I'd disowned my sister. She was a pain in the arse on a holiday, and for me that was just a final straw after many different things with her. And I said to my mum that day, I said, we're going to get through the airport, and then I'm not talking to her ever again. I'm done. I said, I'm done with her now. Seen her too clearly to not see through her for the rest of my life. I don't care what she's irrelevant to me now. And then because that happened, she tried to turn other family members against me. And it was like, but reality is I couldn't care less. That's the thing. You can have everyone. I don't care, man. If people just want to believe a lie, then what do I care? You know? It just shows that people are quick to turn anyway. And the other thing, of course, is people haven't really invested in my books. And it's like, if you care about someone, you support them. If anyone in my family, before all of this shit, if any of my family had done anything remarkably close to what I've done, I would have supported them. I'd have bought the books. I'd have promoted the books. I'd have said, look, my brother done this, my sister did this, my nephew. It's a great, and I would have done all that. So what does that tell you about people? They have a problem with me, for whatever reason. I actually think it's jealousy. My brother's been jealous of me his whole life, and I don't really know why. He's always had a problem. So it's almost like they want your company, but they despise you in the same breath for some weird reason. So it's just, I don't need that energy around me at all. But I haven't had the support, so why would I keep them around me? And I always think that as well. Like when your success comes, it's always going to be, it's those individuals who feel entitled to any breakthrough you have, and they want to be part of it, even though they never supported any of it. So why should they be a part of any of my journey? So wherever my life takes me, whether it's traveling abroad, whether it's living somewhere else, whether it's different relationships and experiences and meeting hopefully remarkable people, and they're not part of that journey. I created it. That's my journey. That's for me. And whoever's around me at the time that I choose to have around me. It's just life. But it's just, you don't have to keep bringing the same people with you. And I get fed up with this. Like, this is, oh, you stick with the family's blood. It's like, no. Everybody's accountable. Everybody's accountable. There's just, for me, they've all exhausted everything. And the thing is, my daughter's seen it for herself too, because one thing I've always said to her is, any argument I have with someone or a problem is not your problem with them. So it's not about picking sides. You have your own experiences, and you get to pick your own audience. It's just that keep your eyes open with people, though, because they will, some people, I don't want to go too far here, but even just like my sister, she hadn't seen my daughter for ages, and she keeps making a point of, oh, I haven't seen you in ages. Oh, I miss you so much. But she never reaches out. She hadn't even messaged my daughter in like 3 years. One New Year, or Christmas, my daughter messaged her, didn't get a reply. Or because my sister was having a problem with me because my mum wanted to spend Christmas with me and didn't want to go to her house. That's one of the issues we've had in the past as well. This isn't the other. This is, I don't want to keep saying, I don't want to give names out. This isn't the sister I said is the worst one where I don't want to deal with her. This is the one that helped do the moving the van. But there was a year where what my mum said to me was, she's been invited to go to her house for Christmas. What are you doing for Christmas? Because mum, she wanted me to be with her for Christmas. And I said, well, I'm not going to her house again. Like, we've been there before. It doesn't feel like Christmas to me. It seems to me they get everything their way. So, they get to drink, they can do what the hell they want because they don't have to go out. But we have to go in. If I come to you, we've got to then go to theirs, and then we've got to drive home, and we're stuck. I don't want to do that. I'll come all the way to your house and stay, and we will have Christmas at yours, like how we've always done it. Or I'm just going to stay home. I said, I don't mind. Like, if you want to go there, you go there. I'm not trying to coerce anyone. I just said, you do you. Like, if you want to go, I've got no problem with it. I can just stay home. I'm just not going to travel for 2 hours to get there, So I'm not traveling over 2 hours to go to my sister's house. That's my point. I'll come to your house and we'll do Christmas there. So Mum said, well, if you come down, we'll do Christmas here then, and I'll let her know. And then my sister just threw a fit and said, you said you was coming. My mum said, I never said I was going anywhere. You offered me, and I was, and she tried to be nice about it. She never actually promised anything. And my sister just threw a fit and didn't talk to my mum for like 2 years. What a lunatic. And I thought that was so cruel. And then she started prioritising her partner's mum, going for lunches and all sorts for ages, and just kept missing my mum out. And at that point, my mum, my stepdad had passed away before then. That's why my sister was offering at that house. So my mum was alone. These things I remember. I don't let this shit go. Believe me, I've always been there for my mum. If she needs me, I'm on the phone. If she needs me, I'll come and visit her. I visit her as much as I can within reason. And I don't have these petty arguments with her because I know life's too short, and she's done far too much for me. She means too much to me to let any petty shit get in the way. But my half siblings, they treat her like shit. And then they pull her in when they want attention or they want something, all the time. My niece has done the same for my other sister. I don't want to start picking at people, but what I mean? The quality of people I think are scum. And I'll say it. I think most of my family members I consider scum. That's a strong word, isn't it? keep them away from me. Just keep all of them away from me. And I've said that to my mum, and I've said I don't go to funerals. Like for her, when something happens to her one day, I know she'd want me to attend it, even though you're obviously not there. But I know in her head she does want me to go, and that'd be a nightmare for me because I don't want to be around these people. But because it's her, that's the only time there's a chance I'll be around all of them at the same time. But I will not be polite, and they'll know to keep the hell away from me because I won't play nice, and it won't be a day for their shit either. If that day, when that day ever comes, we'll see. And that's how fierce I am about it. When it comes to my mum, yeah, I'd say, look, this is a day for her. I'm here for her. Just leave me alone. And if they get funny, I just have to swear at them and get the fuck away from me. I'm not playing with you. This isn't your day. Yeah, but you can see how fiery I am about it. I don't like them at all. And with people I don't like, I just choose to spend time away from them. Just get away from me. Anyway, yeah. So like my sister reached out to my daughter, and then they went to town. I said, you can if you want to go over, you go over. She goes, yeah, I'd like to go to town. I'd like to go in town. But anyway, so my sister spent some money on her, but she's got a bit trying to buy people things. Buy people. That's what it is. It's not always as clear cut as I just got you a gift, and I know her personality. Well, leave it be. I said, how was it then? And she goes, oh, it's good. But, there's a couple of things that made her feel uncomfortable when I listened. And I said, well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's almost like she never had a daughter of her own. She only had boys. So she was trying to turn my daughter into her image. So that annoyed my daughter. She goes, oh, why don't you wear dresses? This would be nice, trying to keep doing that. Or she'd make a remark about something that she likes, and putting it down a little bit. So it offended her, but it's like she was seeing it for herself, that this was all about trying to play dress up as a doll to try to make her like how she would want to be. Because she has spoke to her before about having tattoos, and I said, well. I said, if at a later date you want tattoos, that's your choice. But I'm not letting her brand you just because she wants to start having, no. That's something you think about before you do it. You don't just go around doing it. So, no. I was fuming when I found out about that. Like, she wanted to do that. I was like, no chance. She's not doing that with you. That's your choice to make at a date, but that's not something she's deciding for you. We're not doing that shit. Anyway, yeah, that's my family. Anyway, beautiful, isn't it? But it has been chaotic the whole way through life, to be totally honest. But you stick together to a point. It's like I say, when I think about reputations, I just think. Yeah, those closest to me, one of the biggest things I think people will say about me is he's stubborn. He's really, really stubborn. Like, you won't get him doing anything he don't want to do, and you don't want to piss him off. But I think, yeah, that's quite true. Because I don't mind going this life alone. I can handle it. I don't care. It's less drama. It's peaceful. In your own company, it's peaceful, The only thing you can do is irritate yourself, but then you can get anything that irritates you about yourself, you can fix anyway. So, like, for instance, I've been in and out of jobs, and I frustrate myself that I'm so struggling sometimes in like finances, but then it's my own decision to not be miserable in a workplace that makes me suffer. But then it's up to me to change the situation. So I have to put more energy and time into building me up and achieving other milestones and successes that will open new doors. But at the same time, if I have to take steps back to do things that give me a steady income, then it's up to me to do that. So they're the only things that annoy me about me, is that I have too much principle in my life, and sometimes it makes me unstable financially. So it just creates a bit. That's the only instability I have in myself, is financial, and it irritates the shit out of me. But that's something that I can fix over time, and it just depends on the immediacy of it as to whether I have to balance two lives. That's the problem, because I don't want to keep going backwards to earn money when I've put so much time into doing something else that I think should be making me money, So then I don't have the time for it. So if I've got to go and do 40 hours a week somewhere else, then I'm not always going to be on video doing this. I'm not always going to do my books. Something has to break. I'm not going to work my ass off my whole life. It's ridiculous. You can't live two lives like that. You burn yourself out. So it's just, sometimes you just got to pause a dream to live in reality for a period, and that's fine if you have, like, and, do you know what I mean? So I can annoy myself with that, because I have to find the happy medium And it's my fault that I'm in that situation. But I haven't got anybody else bothering me and ruining my life. Like external noise, I don't care. If people want to gossip about me, if people want to make a load of shit, it's like, fine. But just be careful how you do it, because if you attach my name and it's a lie, you can tell the truth. I don't give a shit. I'll admit to truths. But if it's lies and you've attached my name to it, then that's a real problem, because I will go to the police about it. That's the thing. So people go, oh, you grass it. No, that's your image. It's defamation. So you want to be very careful when it comes to defamation and slander. You know, you've got to be careful with that shit. It's to talk facts. Talk facts. And then you're fine. So if someone's, I don't mind people publicly gossiping about me and shit. I don't care. If it's true. If it's true, it's fine. So you just got to be very careful how something's worded, is what I would say. And very careful how you tag someone or use their name. Because you can make it ambiguous, not give them information out. They don't know your name, don't know your hometown, don't know those things. That could be anyone then, that's fine. You can talk about things. But as soon as you attach someone's name, you better be absolute sure. You can't go by hearsay. You know? So that's, anyway, so that's that side of things. Because I did have someone try that shit. It was my ex-partner's partner. He's a bit unhinged. And, you know, don't like that I'm more intelligent. And then they went too far trying to be tough. And then they tagged me in something on social media and it was lying. And I was like, well, that's dangerous, because then people can get an image of you, you know, get a false image of you. And some people become vigilantes. And I'm like, well, I'm not putting up with this shit. That's actually dangerous to your life. So I got in touch with the police over that, and they said, would you want, like, if we investigate, would you want to take it further? I said, well, not at this point. I said, I'd rather they just give it, like, I'd rather they just backed off, like, stop doing what they're doing, because I don't want to escalate it any further, like, really, you know. But if they do it again, yeah, we'll have to. You know, so I had to go to my ex and say, you better calm his ass down, because otherwise there's going to be a police investigation and there'll be court proceedings, and then I don't know after that, it's up to them how a judge decides things. Of course, this is very early, but that's how things can increase quite quick from that. So you need to be careful. But anyway, yeah. So like I say, there's sides to all of us, isn't there? I mean, I've really hammered in the family side of it, but I mean, maybe people have got an idea. Getting back to that wedding thing with my brother, I did say to my mum, if I ever get married, I don't know exactly where I'd get married or how, because it's not for you to decide anyway. It's for two people to decide. A lot of people always, I hate gender wars. That's another thing I hate. I hate it, because it all comes down to the injustice bubble. If you put injustice and all the little things, I hate anything injustice. Anything that takes away an individual's rights. So even if someone wants rights, it better not encroach on someone else's already rights. I'm not going to go too far into all that. But ultimately, if you're in a relationship with someone, it's between you two. It's not you're the main character, someone else is a side character, and it's not that you're the side character there. We're both main characters here. So you're collaborating. If you can't collaborate in a relationship, you shouldn't be together. That's not a relationship. That's a power struggle. It makes no sense at all. So all I'm saying is, in my situation, if I'm getting married to someone, I want it to be an occasion for us. This isn't about anyone else. I couldn't give a shit. I really don't care less if anyone's there. I know some people want a big wedding. That's great. If you want a big wedding, you can get everybody there. I have no problem with it being a big wedding or a small wedding. Believe me. All I care about is me and them. That's all I would care about. I don't care about... I'm not someone that cares about noise. So I don't give a shit. If there's people there who want to watch it, watch it. If there's people who don't want to watch it, I don't watch it. I'm not here for them. I don't want to be rude about it, but I'm just here for the person. So where do I want us to get married? A registry office? Just signing a book? What are we doing over here? That's just... If we're doing that, what's the point? Like, if we don't even care enough about each other to make it as an occasion to do that, I'm not doing that. No, I won't. You said there's got to be limits of what you won't do, and then there's limits to what you will do. So me personally, I could see it being either a church wedding. I'm religious. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I did look it up recently. Can you get married in a church if you're not religious? And it said yes, if you're from that area. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because I would like that, because that's ceremonial. I like it. A beach wedding, I think, is pretty cool too. But I don't even care. Like, for instance, if it's just, I said to my mum, it'll only be the front bench. She didn't understand what I meant. I said, on my side, it'll only be you and my daughter. Obviously, I say her name, but I don't really want to give too much information to her all the time. But anyway, I just said it'd just be you two. I wouldn't, on my side of the family, I don't want anyone else. they've either passed away or the ones alive are dipshits. So my mum and my daughter, that's the only two I would invite on my side of the family. No exceptions. So whoever I get married to, if they don't have anyone, that'll just be it then. I don't care. It really doesn't bother me that it would be a quiet place. It's just, if I only have a very small people in my life that I consider family, that I actually consider close to me, my close circle. Most people's circle's too big. It's not close as you think it is. They're gossiping about you. They're plotting. They're jealous. This is just a big family. I've got a big family. Believe me, I've got, what is it, six brothers and sisters, either step or half, and then each has children, and then they have some of them now even have children. So you've got all that, and you've got cousins. You've got all sorts. So believe me, my family's big, but my family is very small. It's my mum and my daughter. I've shrunk it very small, kept it tight, keep it safe, sacred. That's the ones I trust. Everyone in my family, they're the only ones I trust. That's my circle. So if it's getting married and those two are the only ones witnessing me get married that are on my side, that's plenty for me. That's all I wanted to see. So and I want it to be an occasion from whoever I'm in a situation with. So whoever we get married, I want it to be an event for us. I don't really look. It's up to other people. It's not for me. I don't really care about the event of getting there. I just want to be standing there, and I want to make that union in a place that feels special. That's what I want, and I think that would be nice. This is for us. I don't need everybody cheering after. I don't need all that shit for me. But if they do, then they have to figure out who they want. And just because I keep this very small circle, they can have a wide circle. I don't care. But anyway, hopefully I get some more input about my personality, I guess. But like I say, look, it's more to me than just personal. We just talk about that's our personal life. In my everyday, I don't think about all these people, by the way. So don't think I'm sitting there just festering in hate. It's not hate, or I've just moved on from them. It's just closed the chapter. It's not something I genuinely think about often. It's just if my mum brings someone up, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not interested. I don't want to go. I don't want to do that. I'm not going. And she's given up, like, fighting me on it. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. And it's just, okay, you get it now. So, right, because there's a reason for it. I don't do it to be an arsehole. So, yeah. Like, I think just life evolves. So, yeah, I don't think about any of them, really. I'm just getting on with my own shit. Life's stressful enough for each of us on our own path, But, when you close bridges, when you close doors, they can stay firmly closed. And you have to accept the consequences. And believe me, I accepted it a long time ago. But like I say, I talk about a lot of things, even human rights. So for me, it's all about freedom. So you've got injustices, and then we've got freedom. So that is any part of society. But of course, most things are going to be defined by by our own personal life as well. So there's injustices on so many levels. It's on a grand scale. Sometimes it's on a small scale. But I don't allow any of that around me. So if someone has done something to disrespect me, I make a note of that. Some disrespects are not too big. They can be overcome because people can grow beyond it. So we're not trying to prejudge or judge people too heavily for a period of growth or adolescence, or just vulnerabilities. So we're saying, okay, I wasn't really happy with that, but it's prolonged. We've seen a pattern. We're seeing personalities here, and then we start. But in a wider scale, there are big issues in the world that need to be spoken about. So, for instance, even if you just look at this image here, I don't even have to look at any of that. We can see this segregation here. So I see it as privilege. You've got people that maybe come from, in this sense, let's say there's people trying to immigration or illegal immigration, people come from one country to the other country. It's like, why should these people have so much freedom and these people be so suppressed or strained in their life or have restrictions? Why is it some people in the world have a privilege and the others don't? That's what I don't like. I don't like it. Everybody should have the same. So if it means on this side, you're going to lose some privilege for these to have an equal opportunity, then that's fair. That's me personally, yeah, because the world's all of ours. Just because you've got a plot of land that you go, wait a minute, it's exclusive for us. No shit. No, everybody deserves opportunities. And that's how I feel with that. This one here was, I think this one's more about, I knew it was gender. I didn't want to go there. But this one's the gender situation. So I don't want to go too far, but people know my opinion on it is that, I just think I don't think there is. It's fact. There's just two genders. You start creating new genders, that's artificial. It's augmented. It's not natural at all. It's just a new trend of people just trying to experience other identities and things. I'm not going to go down that path, but for me, I don't agree with it because it infringes upon the existing rights of other people. So what they're trying to do is be martyrs, and I don't agree with it. So I will speak out on that sense. Yeah, but it's like almost like a can't win battle because there's so many that play victim. It's just a joke. For every argument you make, and it can actually be a really, really well-structured argument, there'll be someone crying, I've lost my rights, it's not fair. It's like, well, you're just trying to take everyone else's rights, though, so how's it fair for them? Oh, yeah, but now it's my identity's being cried. It's like, oh, I'll give up with you. It's too petty. It's just too much. You go and cry in the corner. I am quite blunt. And then this one is this is abortions because it's for a woman's right to choose. And I've already given my opinion on all that. I'm not going to go around in circles. For the record, I am pro-choice. And there's depths of that, not so simple. And then we've obviously got my book. So we've got opinions on many, many topics in the world. Then we've also got the books. Now, through the books, you can argue that there's a lot of deep insight there. So I talk about life experiences. I'm someone that shares my experiences, but also have an aptitude for not only just speaking. So you might think I'm articulate, I'm a good communicator, but I consider myself a strong communicator verbally and written, so oral. So I can do both. I can put it into the text of a book, and I can also just speak on it. And as you can probably tell, based on the way I talk, that things flow to me quite well. Because if I can speak like this, then I can write, and then I can change the writing to make it, So you just with writing, I consider it sculpted art. So I'll have a concept, I'll talk about it, and then I'll start structuring the sentences and sort of like manipulating it in a way that makes it more deep and profound. It's fun, but it's exhausting. It's very hard work. But in terms of the content, for the majority of the time, it'll flow to me in much the same way the videos do. So. But what I would consider them, they're an achievement, they're an accomplishment, aren't they? Each single one of them is a huge part of my journey and my growth. And then you've even got like the websites, where the web design. So I'm a creative individual. I'm someone that's always tinkering. Someone's learning all the time. So I'm constantly a student of life. I don't stop. It's always something to grow into and stuff, So yeah, I consider myself someone that I'm quite relentless. I think really, if we go that far. Oh look, I don't know what's going on now. Right, okay, my web browser's just decided to play up and just go mental on me. But as you can see, I've done other things as well. And then there's my daughters. And I've always said that. Anyone that wants to criticize or anything, especially when it comes to parenting and, I don't want to dig at people, but I've seen some terrible parenting in my life. And I've always said that, because they try to make digs at me, and it's like, I don't know what you're digging at, because sometimes they think I'm too lax with my daughter, for instance. I don't hit my daughter. I don't make me hot beverages. I don't treat her like she's a possession. We don't get screaming matches in the street, because that's not a dynamic I've cultured with her at all or curated. It's just that's not the relationship we have at all. So when I'm watching other people behave like that, I'm thinking, you're unhinged. You haven't figured it out at all. It's like, you just berating. It's just not right. It's not positive parenting in the slightest. You've not built an affectionate relationship with each other, one that's actually respectful. So it's just terrible parenting, in my opinion. Now, I'll call people out if I see it, like family members. I'd say, what the hell are you doing? Or I wouldn't have let them get like that at that stage. It's hard. Once kids get out of hand, it's going to be hard to rein it in if you've created a culture where they've allowed just to be able to do what they want and just be crazy. But if you set the parameters early on to say, this isn't acceptable, this is how we be polite, but you do it in a way that's respectful. You give them options as well. I'm not going to go in a whole parenting advice, but what I would say is, I think the outcome speaks for itself. Now, you could argue these are just little slots of photos, and maybe there's others. No, we don't have too many negative experiences. I mean, she did say something to me recently, and I'll explain that. And it made me reflect a little bit. She said, "You never apologise." And it annoyed her. She said, "You never apologise." And I thought, for what? So maybe I'm a bit too headstrong sometimes. Maybe I'm too opinionated without thinking about how much it affects other people. So she has made me think a bit there. And I think, again, we're all learning. And it did make me think that, like, because a lot of time I'm quite brazen. So I just think, you know what, this is what I think. This is it. And I'm always of the notion that if you don't like it, tough shit. I don't care. It's just it's my opinion. But sometimes it maybe affects people emotionally and stuff, and I'm not thinking about that at all because I'm just thinking what's right and what's wrong. And I can't remember what happened, like something, but she really took offense to it for quite a while. And then she had I can't remember. She said something. She's a little bit rude. She was a bit rude towards me, and I wasn't happy with it. But I just let her vent. I didn't really berate her or anything. And then I think I left her to it because I thought, well, you know, I don't know. You know, that wasn't too long ago, and that was a bit like I'm a bit offended by the way you're behaving to me. To be honest, I'm not impressed at all, in a little bit, because you're thinking, anyone else, I would have had to go back. But she making me think, and I think that's what I'm saying. We've all got room for growth, and then she saw me about, I don't know, maybe an hour later or so, and then she actually apologised, and I didn't actually apologise again, and I know. The thing she said to me was, "You never apologise." And I was aware of it. So I'm thinking, but for me, that wasn't... If there was something in that, because she's raised awareness to it, if I felt there was a reason to apologise, I would have apologised. But I thought, I don't think I did anything wrong, though. I'm not going to apologise if I don't feel it. Like, if I don't feel there's something to apologise for, then I can't apologise, because otherwise what we're doing over here, we're just watering it down. So she apologised for the outburst, and I just said to her, even though it annoyed me at the time beforehand, I did say to her, I said, "You don't have to apologise for anything. You haven't done anything wrong. Something bothered you. You vented, which you have every right to do. So you expressed yourself. So you don't have anything to apologise for. You have every right to express yourself." So I don't know, but there's room for me to grow, of course. That has made me think more about things, really. I mean, I did apologise to her in a message after she went home, because it's something I reflected on. Yeah, there's something I can't explain it. It's probably not. It's nothing to do with reputations, but we'll do it anyway. She been having panic attacks a few times. Now her mother has these things as well, but her mum can exaggerate shit to make it. Like, I've experienced that with her enough times. When someone has a lull moment, like an episode of something, and they're struggling, and they know you come running to be their saviour, some people get used to that, So even if they're not feeling it, they know if they want to get their own way, or So you just know. So with her mum, it's triggered. I think that's probably one of the only instances in life where I have some sort of like, where they say post-traumatic disorder. I think that's created something in me there where it's like a trigger. And I get really, really agitated fast that I can't put up with it. So she's having I don't know, she thought she was having a heart attack or a panic attack. I said, "I think you're having a panic attack." I don't know why you're getting a panic attack, though. She was getting like, all of a sudden, "I just need air, I need air, I need air." But it's like, I can't handle that 0 to 100. I can't handle someone going from one extreme from being relaxed to now we're like hyperventilating and freaking you want to go to the freaking moon, And it's like, freaking hell, relax. Like, I can't be around that. That level of anxiety is insane. So I was trying to be helpful, but I was like, this is not making any sense. Like, I just can't stand that. Relax, for God's sake. So I know I weren't being helpful, but I'm trying to process my frustration at the same time they need help. But in hindsight, I should have helped. No one's perfect. And it's more the case of, witnessing it, I knew it wasn't emergency. So I just felt it was a bit too much. I was thinking, this is crazy. This, in a few, like 20 minutes or something, you're going to be normal again. And this was just unnecessary. That's how I'm thinking. But I wasn't thinking about how dangerous it felt for them. You know, and I should have been, of course, that's the thing you should have been thinking about, because I've got this trigger that just as soon as someone goes from 0 to 100, I'm like, fuck this shit. This is crazy. You can't go from like 0 to 100 like that. It's how mental it gets, you know. But I was thinking after she went home, I was just thinking to myself, that must have been scary for her. Like, if you genuinely think something's happening and you don't know, they don't know for sure it's a panic attack, and think, I should have been a lot better. I should have done a lot better in that situation. I felt, but I was so caught up in how I was feeling about it all, you know. I was so fed up, like annoyed, because I'm like, I can't keep living like this. You know, I had it with a mum. I can't deal with this shit. It's something I genuinely can't deal with anymore. I struggle with it a lot. And it's like, I can help people through so many things, but when someone goes like through a crazy period of anxiety like that, from 0 to 100, it's so hard for me to process it, because it just seems extreme, you know. But I realize I'm going to have to find a way to do it, because it's not fair for her to not. And I said it to her as well. I've said it to her before, like, as much as I get bothered with it, I wouldn't want you not to be able to express yourself or tell me when you're struggling. But so that's a flaw I have. That's definitely a big flaw, like a big flaw. So I sent her a message and I just apologized for it. I show you. I don't think I've got it. I've got it in charge. I did, but I don't mind. I'll do it verbatim. You can hear it how I actually said it if I can find it. Oh. Because I think I like transparency. This is it. I said, I was thinking about your panic attacks. It's probably stress. I assume you cope fine with the circumstances in your life. Some days are hard for me, but I just push on. If you think about it, there's rarely a day, if ever, where you don't carry some stress or frustration, because life's never normal for you. You're constantly pulled in different directions and probably always unsettled. The life you've had hasn't been fair. So it stands to reason that your body reacts in ways to protect itself whenever life... Oh, that was something else I said. Oh shit, that was probably what I said after. But yeah, I was making a point there that she's never going to be settled, because she's got two different lives, you know. One where her mum's got her in one place, and then there's a life sort of with me, and it's just, she can never win. This is it. I said, have you been to the doctor about your breathing yet? Sorry for not being supportive enough and quickly frustrated. It's something I need to work on and do better. I forget how scary it is for you when you're struggling, and wouldn't want you to feel the need to hide what you're experiencing. I'll be more comforting and relaxed in future. Like, for me to send that, I was thinking, should I send it? Should I not send it? But no, I just sort of think, you know, and I think that's the important thing for any of us. It's just, we get caught up in our own lives sometimes, I think. And I think that's what it is. I mean, I'm stressed in my own personal life. It's so stressful, you know, because you're trying to build a life. You're trying to build something for the future while your life isn't perfect. It's hard. You live alone. You've had your life torn apart, and you're trying to support her. Like, I'm trying to support her in her growth and the life she can build for herself, knowing that I had the life I truly cherished taken away from me, you know, and by extension, she had it taken away from her too. So we're both balancing this freaking madness of what life is, trying to find some semblance of peace and growth, and trying to find a way to push both our lives forward in whatever way that is. Like, so I do my own career path. I'm trying to build this up, trying to be there for her all the time. Meanwhile, I'm deeply frustrated in so many areas because nothing seems to work. Nothing works out. And you just keep doing it like it's the right thing to do. And then same, you know, by extension, she's trying to do what she thinks the right thing to do. A big part of her really wants to be home with me. My mum asks her in private, like, do you still want to live with dad? She goes, yeah, I really do. But this part's being at home with her mum that she struggles to let go. Like, for instance, she knows her mum's going to be vulnerable without her, and she doesn't want her suffering. So she carries a lot of the weight of her mother on her shoulders because she wants to be able to protect her. You know, and there's other things beyond that. So it's just, I try to empower her. I'm not trying to get her to come home to me. I'm trying to empower her, though, to say, look, you can't carry the weight of people's lives on your shoulders forever. You need to be able to live your own life. Otherwise, you'll always be trapped to a circumstance. That's for you to figure out. And I'm sure you will at some point in the future. But everybody, your mum needs to grow beyond it as well and get comfortable with change. And, and I said to her as well, I said, you may never come home to me because you may meet someone and you build a life with them. And that's fine. It's never guaranteed you would come home. So there's no guarantee we get that, that do-over, if you like. But it doesn't matter if we do. For me, it doesn't matter anymore. It's not about any of that. It's just about watching her grow, and develop. And there's areas that I need to change to help her. Yeah. Anyway. As you can see, life's quite, it's not simple, I don't think, for anyone. But I think the less baggage we carry, the lighter our load. So it's been frustrating that people haven't supported my journey. But at the same time, I found so much about myself that I don't need them to support the journey. It's better without them. Can't pull me in a million different directions. And I can just focus on my own path. The only exception really is my daughter and my mum. So, when they need me, I'm there. When I need them, they're there. And it's been quite beautiful. I did a test on my daughter the other day because she calls me, and if I don't answer immediately, she always goes, "What the hell?" She's mental like that, and I'm like, "What the? How can you expect me to answer you every time? You're nuts." And I normally do, but still. So the other day, I think yesterday, randomly FaceTimed her, expecting her not to answer because she's probably with her friends, probably do something. I thought, I'm going to FaceTime you, like random, and she answered. She goes, "What?" I go, "What do you mean, what?" And I was just playing around, and I just made the point that. I only called you to see if you answer. She'd been on a video time. She's been FaceTime one of her friends. She had to cancel that to call me, to answer me. And in the end, because I said, "Oh no, you can go back to your friend now." She goes, "No, no, it's fine now. I'll just, we can just talk." So I thought that was quite nice, though. I was only doing it just to see if she would answer. And in the end, she was comfortable. Like, no, we can just video chat for now. Yeah. So, I just want to show people really there are areas to improve as well. So, like I say, reputations are quite divisive, I think, between spectrums of people. But I've got no idea what the average reputation I have. I don't know. But ultimately, I don't really care either, though, to be honest. It doesn't bother me because if anyone's figured any of this out, you've heard anything I've said, you'll know that beyond my close circle, like my mum, my daughter, and me, I actually just don't care. I don't care about noise or what's happening there to a degree, All I want to do is help people find themselves and grow to live a beautiful life, But it doesn't affect me in my life, I still keep things close to me, So all the other stuff is external. So whether someone appreciates what I do, I mean, it's always nice to hear things. I'm not saying that like, it don't matter, because it's nice. But if someone's got a negative opinion of me, I really couldn't give a shit because they don't know all sides of me. And they don't, even if they do know all sides of me and they still form a negative opinion, it's because they don't get they're not part of my inner circle to get the real positive side. They might hear of it, but they won't experience it. So I'll help people where I can to a point, but they'll never get that close, that intimate side of me. You won't get that goofy, silly side. It's very rare. It'll come out in bits, but not to the same extent that it would privately. So, really, I think ultimately what it comes down to is the only ones that really matter. But even then, I know who I am. So I don't need anyone to define me. And I don't say that from arrogance. It's just I know my goals. I know my aspirations. I know what got me there. I know what I've been through. I know the morals I have and all these other things. And a lot of time, it's going to be flawed people, emotionally imbalanced, who are forming an opinion of someone who is completely different to the way they are. So it doesn't really matter, does it? So what would, for instance, what would an unhealed person's opinion of you matter? It really shouldn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter what level they've healed. So what we could argue is, what's my daughter's opinion of me? that's probably important considering it's been a huge focus. And she's always she's always making me a focal point in her friend groups, and I get a bit tired because I don't really want to be part of the friend groups. But it's like she always says, "Oh no, they all want to talk to you, or they want to hear from you." Oh, because she's. And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Oh, you're famous here." And I was like, "How am I famous?" She goes, "Because I'm always talking about you." I thought, well, that's nice. But when you think about it, when we think about like reputations, it's really only her opinion that truly matters to me, and her opinion seems quite favourable. But what I would say in general, and I don't say this to be really, really rude, and it's going to come across terrible now, is, and I've probably already said it, but I actually don't care what my reputation is. Like, even when she gets angry at me, and if she gets fed up, in my head I'm thinking, I don't care. I don't really care. So, again, yes, that's what it is. But I think that's the difference as well. Like, so let's say your child throws a tantrum. I think some parents are thinking, "Oh, I can't stand my child being angry at me. I don't like it when they don't like me." I don't really care. Like, you can like me today, hate me tomorrow. It wouldn't really bother me. I'd just get on with my day. I've got things to do. It's like, all right then. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I've just made peace with life being at the solo to a degree, Yeah, I don't want to drag this out any longer, to be totally honest, because I know we've gone a huge way in with family, and probably talk the worst parts of any reputation. So at this point, I think my reputation, if I was going to make an assumption of what my reputation is, I could be wrong, but I think based on the things I spoke about and how I've presented myself, I think my reputation will be arrogance. That's what's coming to my mind. Arrogance. But then again, I don't think all arrogance is bad. I think sometimes people take it out of context. Self-confidence can be perceived as arrogance. So all of a sudden, or maybe arrogance is accurate anyway. But I don't mean it in a horrible way, though. My confidence, I don't mean in a derogatory way to other people. I don't make reference to like an unhealed person's opinion of you. But that makes sense, though, doesn't it? Like, if because that's how I actually think. So if you're thinking about it, let's say someone, put it in the best context we can get out of this. Let's say someone, I talk about it as well, because actually my daughter's of an age where she's 16 and she's got some friends who dabble in drugs now. And like, my daughter's just not interested at all. And of course, people that do things like that, they always try and mock or ridicule other people who don't. But I said to her, well, you value yourself. You just value life. She goes, yeah, I do. Exactly. You value life, so you consider it precious. You're not prepared to risk that. So the people that do, they're not being cold, they're just being reckless. So who really cares? So if you think about it that way, why would you care what the opinion of people who abuse themselves think of you? You wouldn't. Who gives a shit? They don't even respect themselves. Why would I care what they think of me? They wouldn't understand me. In my daughter's sense, you wouldn't understand her. And yet, when she finds people who do respect themselves, they probably will respect her. But the problem is not everybody's had the same experiences, so maybe they won't. Maybe you'll find people who have healed themselves and they are confident in themselves. They don't understand the plights of other people because they've not been through hardship. So there might be people who hear me speak and they don't understand like the poverty you've been through, the trauma, all the other layers. And they might just think, oh, you shouldn't really talk about that. You shouldn't really say that. It's a bit rude. It's like, yeah, well, you've been living a very, very cloistered life, like very, 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 very protected. You actually don't understand what the other people have to live with. And me speaking on that really isn't that big a deal. In the overall scheme of things, it's a lot easier. I think it's less harmful to speak about it than experience it, believe me. So, yeah, I think hopefully that's gone some way to explain a little bit there how my mind operates to a degree. But like I say, I don't mind coming across as the arsehole if it gets a message across. And really, part of that message is for the majority of people, just keep away from me.